Have you ever noticed that when you speak your heart out to someone, it often feels like they haven't even heard you? As if your words floated in the air and got lost. You want to share your experiences, your emotions, your understanding. But the other person smiles, nods, and the very next moment starts talking about something else. This is why we repeatedly feel that people don't understand what we say. But in reality, the problem isn't in the words. The problem lies in consciousness. Words are merely a medium. If the other person isn't aware, words can never reach their soul. Words can reach the ears. But if they don't reach the heart, how can understanding arise? People don't understand us because they only hear or pretend to hear, but have lost the art of truly listening from within. They sit with preconceived conclusions. They've already decided what to accept and what to reject. When you say something to them, they don't listen with openness, but through their own lens. It's like wearing tinted glasses. If you look at the world through them, everything appears in that color. Similarly, their mind is the lens. And when the mind is already full, where will your words find space? Your words aren't understood because people are confined to their own experiences. If you tell them something beyond their experience, they'll reject it. For example, if you talk about meditation to someone who has never tasted silence, they'll think you're crazy. If you speak of the depth of love to someone accustomed only to transactional relationships, they'll call you impractical. In other words, people can only understand what fits within their circle of experience. Anything outside that circle becomes a burden to them. Another reason is that every person is so entangled in their own dilemmas, their own worries, that they no longer have the capacity to truly listen. Their mind is always filled with noise. Even while listening, they're thinking inwardly. Why did they say this? What does it mean? What does it have to do with me? Instead of listening to you, they're busy crafting their own interpretations. And until their mind is clear, your words cannot penetrate. People don't understand your words also because the truth is not easy to hear. Truth always stings. If you hold a mirror to someone's flaws, their ego won't accept it. They'll say it's nonsense. In reality, they haven't rejected you. They've protected their ego. Every person wants to hear only what is convenient for them, what soothes their ego. But when you speak the truth, it goes against that. That's why they don't understand you. The problem is also that people understand words but not the emotions behind them. You may have experienced this. You say something, and the other person completely misinterprets it. You spoke with love, but they took it as a taunt. You spoke with awareness, but they saw it as criticism. Why does this happen? Because people hear words but fail to grasp the emotions. And to grasp emotions, sensitivity is needed. Silence is needed. Today's human has lost sensitivity. Their focus is only on the surface. Their ability to dive deep has gradually faded. That's why our words don't reach their hearts. People's understanding is also tied to their convenience. If you say something that challenges their comfort, they'll reject it. For example, if you tell someone to look within, it's hard for them because looking within means facing their flaws. If you tell someone to face their fears, it's inconvenient for them. So they say, I don't understand you. But in reality, they understand. They just don't want to accept it. Their convenience and ego hold them back. Our words also aren't understood because people are looking for answers, not questions. They want ready-made solutions. A 5-minute trick to happiness, 10 steps to success. But when you tell them that happiness isn't a thing, it's a state, or that success has no formula, it's just the result of a journey, they get disappointed because they want simple solutions. But truth never offers simple solutions. Truth demands depth, and the courage to go deep is rare. People don't understand us also because they decide before listening. As soon as you start speaking, their mind labels it right or wrong. And when the judgment is already made, there's no question of understanding. Understanding requires openness. But people are not open. They are closed. Their minds are layered with assumptions, beliefs, and prejudices. Without removing these layers, nothing can penetrate. And because they don't want to remove them, our words never become clear to them. Your words also aren't understood because people are no longer accustomed to listening deeply. Today's world is fast. People want everything instantly: short videos, short messages, quick solutions. They can't focus on anything for more than 5 minutes. In such a time, when you say something deep, detailed, and thoughtful, it feels heavy to them. They say, "I don't understand." In reality, it's not hard to understand. Their attention is just too weak to grasp it. Sometimes our words aren't understood because people don't even understand themselves. Someone who is a stranger to their own self, how can they understand others? If they don't know their own pain, fears, or illusions, how can they recognize your truth? That's why, when you speak the truth, many laugh or make a joke of it. Because to accept the truth, one must first meet oneself. And meeting oneself is the hardest task. Our words also aren't understood because every person thinks in their own language. When you speak the language of spirituality, someone who only understands logic will find it nonsense. When you speak the language of love, someone who only knows the language of business will find it impractical. Every person has their own world, and they can only understand the language of that world. Until their consciousness matures in that language, your words will remain foreign to them. People also don't understand our words because they're always seeking results. They ask, "If I understand this, what will I get? If I meditate, what will I gain? If I love, what will come to me?" They view everything through the lens of give and take. But truth has no transactions. Truth is for living, not for gaining. And this is what they don't understand. Because their eyes are always fixed on the outcome, not the process. Sometimes our words aren't understood because they're spoken too soon for the listener. Every person has their own time. Some things are only understood after passing through certain experiences. If you tell a child about the impermanence of life, they might not understand. But when that same child faces love, loss, struggle, or death, those same words will touch their soul. So the problem isn't that your words are too deep. The problem is that the other person hasn't yet reached the level to understand them. And finally, our words aren't understood because people don't truly listen. They're just waiting for their turn to speak. When you talk, they stay quiet not to listen but to prepare their response. True listening happens only when you're completely silent, without prejudice or preparation, just listening. But this art is rare. That's why our words float in the air, bounce off their ears, and fail to reach their hearts. People don't understand our words also, because they're busy thinking while listening. As soon as you present an idea, their mind starts reacting. Is this right or wrong? Is it for or against me? Does it align with or contradict my beliefs? In this constant evaluation, they fail to hear. They layer every sentence with their opinions, and this burden of opinion buries the true meaning of the words. That's why your words reach their ears, but don't sink into their souls. Sometimes our words aren't understood because they're too simple. Humans have made their lives so complicated that simplicity seems impossible to them. If you say that being aware is enough to be happy, they'll laugh. They'll think, how can such a simple thing change anything? They're searching for grand, complex, mysterious solutions. But the beauty of truth lies in its simplicity, and this simplicity feels complex to them. So they say, "I don't understand." Our words also aren't understood because people only want to hear what aligns with their desires. If you say that success requires hard work and patience, they'll find it boring. But if you say there's a shortcut to getting rich without effort, they'll instantly understand and believe it. That's why lies are easily understood, and truth feels difficult because lies soothe their desires, while truth forces them to look within. People's understanding is often bound by their fears. If you say something that breaks their fears, they'll reject it instantly. For example, if you say God is not outside but within, their entire belief system will shake. They'll fear, if this is true, what about their prayers, scriptures, temples? Their whole framework will collapse. This fear stops them from accepting the truth. They'll say, "I don't understand your words." when in reality, they've understood but don't want to accept it out of fear. Our words also aren't understood because people listen only with their minds, not their hearts. The mind always demands logic. How is this possible? What's the proof? What's the benefit? But the heart simply feels. Some things go beyond words and can only be felt. If someone tries to understand them with the mind, they'll never get it. That's why meditation, silence, and love are understood by the heart, not the mind. But people listen with their minds, not their hearts. Sometimes our words aren't understood because people are impatient. They want instant understanding, instant change. But deep truths sink in slowly. Just as a seed doesn't become a tree instantly, deep understanding takes time, experience, and patience. But people don't want to wait. In their haste, they say, "I don't understand," when in reality, they lack the patience to understand. People also don't understand our words because they're only ready to hear, not to change. Understanding the truth means changing your life, and change is always hard. If you tell someone to let go of their negativity, they'll say it's impossible. Why? Because they're attached to their negativity. They don't want to let go. And when they don't want to let go, they'll say, "I don't understand you." But the problem isn't understanding. It's the unwillingness to change. Our words also aren't understood because people get stuck on the words themselves. They don't dive into the depth behind them. If you say meditation is silence, they'll ask, "How silence?" Meditation is an action, a process of sitting. They get tangled in words and miss the essence. That's why even simple sentences seem mysterious to them, because they can't see beyond the words. People also don't understand our words because they always think they're right. If someone believes they know everything, how can they understand something new? Understanding requires humility. Until a person admits, "I don't know," new knowledge can't find space within them. But today's human is arrogant. They say, "I know everything," and this arrogance stops them from learning and understanding. And finally, our words aren't understood because every person's level of understanding is different. What's instantly clear to one person might take years for another to grasp. This isn't a flaw, it's just a difference in consciousness. Every person is on their own journey, at their own level. So if someone says, "I don't understand your words," it doesn't mean your words are wrong. It only means their time hasn't come yet. When the time comes, those same words will resonate within them and change their life. People also don't understand our words because they're so busy looking outward that they've lost the ability to look within. They're always counting others' flaws, finding others' mistakes, evaluating others' lives. When you tell them to look within, it feels difficult. They're used to looking outward. Diving inward feels alien to them. So they say, "I don't understand your words." In reality, they've forgotten the art of looking within. That's why the mirror of truth stings them. Sometimes people don't understand because they're ready to argue, not listen. They're not open to dialogue but prepared for debate. As soon as you present an idea, they start looking for flaws. They listen not to understand but to prove you wrong. And when someone listens to argue, your words can never be clear to them, because understanding is born from silence, and debate is always full of noise. Our words also aren't understood because people listen incompletely. Have you noticed that you haven't even finished your sentence, and the other person has already drawn a conclusion? They hear half and assume the whole meaning. This is the problem. People don't patiently listen to the full message. Their mind starts interpreting halfway, and this incomplete listening creates misunderstandings. That's why the true meaning of your words gets lost. People also don't understand our words because they're always trying to prove themselves right. If your words align with their beliefs, they'll say, "Yes, that's right." But if your words contradict their beliefs, they'll say, "That's wrong. I don't understand." In other words, they choose convenience over truth. To understand the truth, you have to set aside your beliefs, and that's a hard task. Very few have the courage to do it. Sometimes our words aren't understood because people focus on the words but miss the intention behind them. They get stuck on the surface. If your words are a bit harsh, they'll take them as an insult. If your words are a bit different, they'll find them strange. But words are only pointers. The truth lies hidden behind them. Only those with the ability to see beyond words can understand. And this ability is rare. It's also true that our words aren't understood because every person is drowning in their own pain. Their worries, fears, and problems are so heavy that they're not in a state to absorb your words. They're locked in their own world, and until their mind lightens a bit, your words can't find space. It's like trying to pour water into a full vessel. You can't. The vessel needs to be emptied first. Similarly, the mind needs to be empty to understand something new. People also don't understand our words because they want to learn from others' experiences, not their own. But truth comes only through experience. You can tell someone 1,000 times that fire burns, but they won't fully understand until they touch it themselves. Similarly, you can talk about meditation, love, or silence 1,000 times, but until they experience it, they won't fully understand. And experiences come to everyone at different times. That's why your words often feel premature. Sometimes people don't understand because they fear change. If your words carry the potential to change their life, they'll run from it. Because change is always uncomfortable. Someone who's lived for years with their habits, beliefs, and fears, why would they change suddenly? So they say, I don't understand your words. It's their shield. What they really mean is, I don't want to change. Our words also aren't understood because people have lost the practice of thinking deeply. The education system has given them information, not understanding. They can memorize facts, recite statistics, but they can't reflect. When you invite them to think deeply, they feel uneasy. They think it's all too complicated. But in reality, it's not complicated. The complication lies in their own lack. Understanding comes only when the mind is ready to think deeply, and this readiness is rare today. And finally, our words aren't understood because people only want to see what's visible to the eyes. But truth is always beyond the eyes. It's not seen, it's felt. And to feel, you need silence. You need sensitivity. But today's human is so busy, so caught in the rat race, that they have no time to pause. And without pausing, there's no understanding. So they say, I don't understand your words. But the truth is, they haven't paused, so they couldn't understand. People also don't understand our words because they're constantly comparing while listening. They think, what this person is saying, does it match my beliefs? My guru said something else. My book says something different. This constant comparison stops them from hearing your words as they are. They measure every statement against an old yardstick. And when a new idea doesn't fit that mold, they say, this is beyond my understanding. The problem isn't the new idea, but they're clinging to the old mold. Sometimes our words aren't understood because people only want to accept half the truth. They'll accept the part that comforts them and reject the rest. For example, if you say love is freedom, they'll agree. But if you add that love should have no expectations, they'll feel uneasy. Because letting go of expectations is hard for them. So they'll say, I don't understand. In reality, they've understood but lack the courage to accept it. People also don't understand our words because they live only on the surface. Their habit is to stay on the surface. They watch news, gossip, scroll social media. Their attention never dives deep. When you say something profound, they get restless. They think it's too heavy. But the heaviness isn't in your words. It's in their surface level habits. Because they lack the practice of diving deep, they can't understand deep things. Our words also aren't understood because people are always in a hurry. They want everything instantly. When you tell them a deep truth, they think, what will this get me right now? If they don't see immediate change, they say, this is useless. But the effect of truth is slow. Just as a seed takes time to sprout, deep truths take time to sink in. But an impatient person can't grasp this. Sometimes people don't understand because they impose their own interpretations. You meant one thing, they understood it their way, and then they take that misunderstanding as truth. This is why fights happen, relationships break, because people didn't hear the truth as it was. They altered it to fit their perspective. And until they listen with an open mind, without prejudice, they'll never grasp the true meaning. People also don't understand our words because they fear themselves. If they truly understood your words, they'd have to face their own flaws. And that's very hard. It's easy to see others' mistakes, but facing your own is tough. So when you hold up a mirror, they say, "I don't understand your words." In reality, the mirror is showing clearly, but only those strong within have the courage to look. Sometimes our words aren't understood because they're spoken too early. Like a seed falling on dry soil, it won't sprout. Similarly, a deep truth can't be understood until the person is ready within. Until their consciousness is ready, words can't penetrate. And when the time comes, those same words will transform their life. That's why people sometimes say, "I didn't understand this before, but now I do." People also don't understand our words because they don't listen, they just wait for their chance to speak. They stay quiet so they can respond, not to hear. And true listening is born from silence. Without inner silence, understanding can't arise. That's why your words echo in their ears in return, but don't reach their soul. It's also true that sometimes our words aren't understood because people only want to hear what feels good. They prefer sweet lies over truth because lies comfort them, and truth shakes them. When you say there's no guarantee in life, they feel uneasy. But if someone says everything will be fine, they believe it instantly. So they say, "I don't understand your words." In reality, they don't want to understand. They don't want to hear the truth. Our words also aren't understood because every person understands from their own level of consciousness. The same words may seem ordinary to one person and life-changing to another. Just as the same sunrise is mere light to one and a miracle of life to another. The words are the same, but the consciousness is different. So if people say they don't understand our words, it doesn't mean the words are wrong. It only means their consciousness hasn't reached that level yet. Sometimes our words aren't understood because people measure everything with logic. But many truths of life are beyond logic. They can only be experienced. Love can't be understood through logic. Silence can't be explained with words. If someone lives only by logic, they'll never understand these truths. And when they can't, they'll say, "This is nonsense." But for those who've experienced it, those same words become the elixir of life. People also don't understand our words because they fear change. Accepting the truth means changing their life. And change is always uncomfortable. Leaving a comfortable life, letting go of habits, dropping the ego, these are hard tasks. So they say, "I don't understand your words." But in reality, they've understood. They just can't muster the courage to accept it. Our words also aren't understood because people are more focused outward than inward. They think solutions lie outside in money, relationships, society. When you tell them the solution is within, they reject it. It seems impossible to them that all their answers are hidden inside. So they say, "This is beyond understanding." But those who've journeyed within know this is the greatest truth. People also don't understand our words because they think truth is complex. But in reality, truth is simple. And this simplicity becomes difficult for them. If you say, meditation is just sitting silently and watching your breath, they'll laugh. They'll think, what can such a simple thing do? They're searching for a mysterious process. But the beauty of truth lies in its simplicity. And until they embrace this simplicity, our words will seem complex to them. And finally, our words aren't understood because understanding the truth is not easy. Truth always challenges us. It wakes us from our slumber. It pulls us out of our illusions. And a person lost in sleep doesn't want to wake up. So they say, "I don't understand your words." But the day they're ready to wake up, those same words will touch their soul and transform their life. So the problem isn't in your words. It's only in the listener's readiness.